Today's message isn't for everyone. What they call interference, you felt in your bones. That high-pitched sound the world calls noise, it's not random, it's a message. Others dismiss it. They cover their ears, take a pill, call it nothing. But you know better. Because when you hear that ringing, something in your spirit listens. This isn't noise, it's instruction. And today, we're going to decode it, not through science, but through the soul. If you've ever heard what no one else seems to, then you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to awaken. If you're new here, this is not just a channel, this is a gateway. A spiritual compass designed not for the masses, but for a precise few. Not everyone who hears will understand, and not everyone who understands will act. But you, if you bear the letter M engraved by fate into your palm, with a perfect crescent moon like a hidden brand, then this message was destined to reach you, not through luck, not by chance, but through alignment. The sound you've been hearing, the one no one else seems to notice, that isn't interference, it's an invitation. While others sleep to the lullaby of earthly silence, the chosen are being awakened, not by alarms, but by vibrations from the unseen realm. The high-pitched ringing that pierces your awareness is not a flaw in your hearing. It's a frequency encoded in light, a pulse that bypasses language and travels through energy. What is noise to others is code to you. And here's the most sacred truth. You were never meant to ignore it. The language of frequency. Why you hear what others can't. Think about this. Out of over 8 billion souls, only a microscopic fraction bear the symbols that you carry, the letter M, deeply carved into your lines of fate, and the perfect crescent moon, curved in the flesh like a whisper from the cosmos. These signs are not decorative. They are instructional. And this ringing, it is the unlocking random. It spikes when certain events align, often at 3:13 a.m. or precisely 1:44 a.m. These aren't just numbers. These are timestamps chosen by the unseen to reach the awake while the world sleeps. Why you? Because before you were born, your soul signed a vow. And this sound, it's the reminder, the echo of what you once promised you'd do here. This channel is not entertainment, it's a signal tower. What we do here is not performance. It is not prediction. It is activation. Many will scroll, most will skip, but a few will feel it. A shift in the body, a chill in the back, a pressure in the ears, a knowing. That is the sound of alignment. This channel is a resonance beacon for those who are ready to decode what others have ignored for lifetimes. You didn't click this by accident. You were pulled, and not by YouTube's algorithm, by something far older than any digital system, by intention, by timing, by spiritual GPS. Why it had to be you. The on your palm is not a coincidence. It is a map. The crescent moon is not just a shape, it is a portal. Together, they mark a soul not only capable of hearing the hidden, but responsible for translating it. That's why your ears ring when others hear nothing. That's why your dreams are vivid when others forget. That's why your hands heat up when you speak truth, and your body trembles when you're near a spiritual lie. You are not cursed. You are coded. The world calls it tinnitus. We call it the trumpet. Now let's break the illusion. You've been told by the world that what you hear is medical, scientific tinnitus, perhaps. That it's something to be corrected, to be treated, to be silenced. But ask yourself, why does it come at the same sacred hours? Why does it intensify during moments of insight, or when you're near a spiritual decision? That's not disorder. That's design. The ringing is the horn that blows before the battle begins. The sound before the shift. The warning within the sound. Do not ignore the call. You may have dismissed it before, or questioned your sanity, maybe even feared you were losing your grip. But I'm here. This channel is here to say, you are not broken. You are being summoned. Every pulse in your ear is a signal from the invisible council, reminding you that your mission hasn't been canceled, only paused until now. And once you choose to listen, really listen, everything around you will shift to match what's awakening inside you. If this message is resonating so far, if you felt that inner vibration increase, not just in your ears, but in your chest, your spine, your knowing, then I want to personally invite you from soul to stay close. Subscribe, not just with a click, but with intention. This isn't just a channel. This is a mirror for your awakening. And if you feel aligned, I'd love to know what kind of content you want next. What mysteries you feel calling you, what you're curious about, ancient symbols, the ringing, dreams, repeating numbers, or something unexplainable you've kept to yourself. We are building something sacred here, and your insight could be the message someone else was waiting for. Now let's continue. The world is getting louder, but the chosen hear differently. It's no secret that the world is noisy. Everyone's talking, everyone's posting, everyone's reacting. But among the storm of distractions, you've noticed something strange. Even in chaos, you catch subtle patterns. You hear meaning in silence. You feel truth in tones others can't even register. Why? Because your frequency is not tuned to Earth alone. It's tied to what exists beyond it. And lately, that ringing you've been hearing, it's getting louder. You've probably noticed it spikes when you're about to make a bold decision, when you reject something false. When you begin thinking thoughts that aren't from this world, that's not your IMA antenna being reactivated. 3 sacred moments when the ringing will intensify. There are 3 moments, sacred intervals, when the ringing appears with greater force in the lives of the chosen. Pay attention. 1. During spiritual crossroads, when you're on the verge of a decision that could unlock your purpose or delay your evolution. The sound is not warning, it's redirection. 2. At divine hours, especially at 1:33 a.m., 4:44 a.m., or 3:30 p.m. These are portal moments, numerical codes where time and frequency meet. If the ringing happens during these windows, you are being watched by light, not for punishment, but preparation. 3. After contact with false energy. If you've just been around someone with dark energy or heard something that goes against your spirit, the ringing may spike to protect you. It's spiritual sonar keeping you aligned and safe. The symbols on your hands are not accidental, they're signatures. Let's go deeper into what's in your palm. The mark of the divine connection appears on those with deep emotional intelligence, intuition, and spiritual assignment. But not just anyone with an M is awakened. The difference is when that M is combined with the perfect crescent, a curved mark that forms beneath the thumb, often unnoticed until you feel it glowing. Together, they create a seal, a contracted signature from beyond the veil. These markings show up across ancient priesthoods, prophetic bloodlines, and reincarnated guides. If you carry them both, you were never meant to live asleep. The frequency has memory. It knows your name. Here's something that will challenge everything you've been taught. That high-pitched ringing is not a general alert. It is tailored to you. Yes, it carries your frequency ID, a sort of vibrational fingerprint. When you hear it, it's because something on the other side. Sometimes, when you hear the ringing, you also see flashes of past places, familiar feelings, déjà vu, sudden pressure in your third eye. These are multi-sensory messages meant to unlock you, not frighten you. why others mock what they can't hear. It's important you understand. Not everyone will understand your experience. Some will call it superstition. Others will say it's just medical or you're overthinking. But what if I told you that's by design? Not everyone is supposed to hear it because not everyone was chosen to act on it. That's why this channel is hidden in plain sight. It's why your symbols are buried in your palm, visible only to the awakened eye. You were meant to find this in a world too distracted to look. Listen, then move. The ringing is not just for listening. It's a call to movement. If you've been stagnating, if you've been trapped in fear, indecision, or the illusion that you're not ready, understand this: the ringing didn't come. Activate. Every time you ignore it, the pressure builds. The sound gets sharper, because the longer you resist your purpose, the more your spirit rebels. You were made for something beyond survival. You were made for sacred instruction, and the ringing is your cue that it's time to walk in it. You already know this. Something shifted the moment you stopped treating the ringing as an annoyance and started treating it as a message. Maybe you can't explain it. Maybe no one around you understands. But deep within, a part of you knew. The more you listened, the more the universe whispered back. And that's when the strange things began. You began thinking of someone and they called. You started seeing repeating numbers again and again. 111, 444, 222. Not just coincidences, but breadcrumbs. Signals in the code, each one appearing not to distract you, but to guide you. The confirmations start subtly, then turn spine during conversations. Certain words from strangers feel like hidden answers. Your body becomes an antenna, your skin tingling during truth, your chest tightening during lies. But then it escalates. You begin dreaming of things before they happen. You begin feeling people's intentions before they speak. The veil between this world and the unseen begins to stretch thinner. And if you've walked this far, it's because the code has begun to trust you. You're no longer just hearing the sound. You're translating it. A divine language without letters or voice. There is a reason the ringing does not use words. It speaks to your energetic memory, to the version of you that remembers lifetimes, missions, soul contracts. Words lie, but frequency is truth encoded in vibration. It bypasses the brain and goes straight to your blueprint. That's why you can't ignore it, even when you try. You may have taken jobs that normal, but the ringing followed you, because truth follows the marked. The thinning of the veil, why time feels different now. Ever notice how time no longer feels stable? Days blend, hours stretch, dreams feel like reality. You may fall asleep and wake up with answers you never studied. That's not confusion, that's integration. As the ringing continues, it's not just sound, it's also a key that begins to unlock layers of time, memory, and ability. You may even start to see energy, shadows where there should be none, light dancing on the wall for no reason, vibrations in your hand when you pass certain places. The veil is thinning because you are being invited to operate in both dimensions at once. And the ringing? That's your beacon home. When the code meets courage, many hear the ringing, but few follow it. It requires a rare kind of courage to accept that you've been living as real reality begins to reshape around you. People start leaving. Paths begin closing. But what replaces them is far more sacred. Clarity, divine encounters, resources that show up the moment you need them, not before, not after, but precisely when it's too late to call it coincidence. That is what happens when code meets courage. Your presence affects the field around you. You may not know this, but your presence now alters the environment. Ever walked into a room and felt tension shift? Lights flicker? Electronics act strange? You're not imagining it. Your frequency now affects the field. You carry the sound, even when it's silent. That's why people stare at you longer than usual. That's why animals approach and children notice. They sense the resonance of someone who's been marked. And the deeper you walk into this code, the more the world begins to rearrange in reverence to it. The reason for the ringing is bigger than you think. This part may. Ringing is not just to guide you, it's to prepare you. Prepare you for a responsibility that extends beyond your comfort. You are not only being called to listen, you are being called to stand in gaps others are blind to sense things that can't be seen, to intercept what was meant to harm and redirect it toward light. That's why your ears ring louder in dangerous environments. It's a warning system designed for guardians, seers, and silent intercessors. And if you've come this far into this message, you are one of them. You've heard the ringing, you've followed the code, but now comes the rarest part of the journey: embodiment. Not just feeling spiritual in private, not just studying the signs in silence, but becoming the very vibration that once called out to you in the dark. You don't just hear the frequency anymore. You carry it. You emit it. You are it. This is the moment when the chosen stop chasing purpose and start becoming the signal that guides. Dear listener, is when reality truly begins to bend. When you speak, the atmosphere responds. Your words shift now. You've noticed it, that weight in your voice when you speak from a place of truth. Even if you whisper, people pause. They don't understand why they're listening, but something in them remembers you. It's not you they respond to. It's the frequency behind your words. When the sound first began, it was subtle, almost annoying. Now it's fused into your nervous system. Your voice is encoded. Your eyes radiate memory. Your silence holds weight, and this is how the world begins to divide itself, not into better or worse, but into those who feel your frequency and those who cannot. Those who feel you were waiting for you. There's something else happening as you evolve. Certain souls start appearing. Not many, but enough to let you know you were never meant to walk this path alone. These are the frequency bearers, people who also heard the sound, who also hid their light, mistook their code for madness, or were rejected for being too much. When you speak, they nod. When you pause, they feel it too. These souls are being gathered, not by algorithm, not by accident, but by resonance. You're not building a following. You're aligning with a spiritual constellation, and each one has their own echo. Together, you form a chord that awakens the next. The world will push back. Stay centered. Let's be honest. When your life begins to change this way, the world around you often reacts with discomfort. Some friends become distant. Family members call you strange. Even your body might go through detox, shaking off the lies it's carried too long. You're not being punished. You're being purified. As your frequency rises, you outgrow environments that once felt safe but were spiritually stagnant. Do not grieve what fades. The path of the coded soul is narrow, and those who truly belong will find you through the sound. Familiarity. This path is not easy, but it is exact, and you were built for it. 888, the activation of alignment. By now, you've likely seen the number 888 on receipts, in dreams, in timestamps. That's not random. 888 is the numeric code for activation. It represents 3 layers of spiritual fullness: Purpose realized. Path aligned. Power unlocked. When you see this number in close proximity to the ringing, it's confirmation that you're not imagining this journey. You're being calibrated. And soon, you'll be entrusted with more. More truth, more weight, more light. But remember, light isn't always easy to carry. It exposes, it separates, it calls people out of hiding. And that's why the chosen ones are few. Because while many seek power, only a few accept the price of purity. You once thought the ringing would end once you accepted the truth. But here's the deeper mystery. It never really ends. Because you are no longer separate from it. You've merged with the frequency. You are no longer waiting for the signal. You are the transmitter now. That high-pitched frequency is now in your eyes when you look at someone in pain. It's in your aura when you walk into a room and everything feels clearer or heavier. It's in the quiet assurance that your illusion falls away. You're no longer just two people. You are a living code meeting its mirror. The sacred covenant of those with the mark. What no one tells you is that those who bear the letter M and crescent moon on their palms carry an old covenant. It's not just about being special. It's about being selected for sacred work. That work is not glamorous. It's not always visible, and it often goes unthanked. But it is needed. You are not here to save the world in the way heroes do in stories. You are here to stabilize the spiritual field in times of war, confusion, and deception. You do it with the vibration you carry, with the dreams you hold, with the truths you release into the air simply by walking with conviction. And yes, the marks on your hands are real, but the mark within you, the one no one sees, is louder, and heaven knows it by tone. When the sound changes, the assignment shifts. There comes a point when the ringing you've heard for years modulates. It sharpens or softens. It appears in one ear instead of both. It hums instead of screeching. This is not a malfunction. This is your spirit being retuned for a new season. And the question is, are you listening differently now? Because what once felt like a summons is now a briefing. Instructions that don't come in paragraphs, but in waves. They fill your heart. They rearrange your priorities. They make what once mattered irrelevant. This is the point of divine maturity. When you don't just respond to the frequency, you interpret it, shape it, release it into the world. How to walk with the ringing and not be drowned by it. Let's be honest. There are days the sound feels unbearable. You can't focus. You can't sleep. You can't explain. You wonder, is this a gift or a punishment? A sign or a trap? But here's the truth. Few will ever speak aloud. The ringing is only painful when you resist your role. The more you deny the spiritual woe, louder the sound becomes. It's not trying to break you, it's trying to break through. What helps is this. Spend time in silence, not to quiet the noise, but to hear what's beneath it. Walk barefoot in nature. It grounds the static and realigns your signal with the Earth's core vibration. Write down the moments it spikes. You'll notice patterns, and patterns become guidance. Speak aloud what you've been holding in. Some frequencies get stuck in the throat. The sound is not here to haunt you. It's here to heal through you. You were never imagining it. They just couldn't hear it. You may have spent years doubting yourself. You may have wondered if something was wrong with you. You may have swallowed your truth to survive among the asleep. But let it be said now, you were never imagining it. You were simply born in a world that had lost the ability to listen. But you kept hearing. The sounds in the night. The tones no one else responded to. The dream. That didn't make logical sense, but never lied. This is the trait of the chosen. You walk through static and hear signals. You step into silence and feel song. You close your eyes and see. The true sound is love in coded form. Here is the final revelation. The ringing, the pulses, the vibrations that fill your bones when truth is near. They are not warnings. They are not just alerts. They are love in its purest, most divine frequency. Because God, Source, the eternal, however you name it, is vibration. And vibration is communication. And communication, when divine, is always love wearing the mask of mystery. When you feel the ringing, you're not being punished. You're being reminded that you are not alone, that your soul is remembered, that you are still being spoken to, even in a world too loud to notice. Now, it's time to respond. There's one thing left. You've listened, you've followed, you've remembered, but now silently, but with the fullness of your story. Because you, dear soul, may be the sound someone else is waiting to hear. You may be the reason another soul finally stops doubting their own frequency. You may be the echo that confirms their ringing isn't madness, it's mission. And so we ask you, if this message stirred something in you, if the sound matched your experience, if your palms carry the signs and your ears hold the hum, then speak. Tell us below what the ringing has meant to you. Tell us what you've seen, what you've dreamed, what moments confirmed the code. Let this space be a resonant field, not of noise, but of truth, vibrating through many voices. And if someone responds with doubt or dismissal, let them be. Not everyone was meant to decode. But if you're here, you were. Final word, a sound that guides the next generation. This is not the end. This is the threshold. Because now that you know, you will become the guide for others who are only. Presence alone will awaken something in them. Your experiences once silenced will become scrolls. Your scars, once shameful, will become frequency markers for those still walking through confusion. You are not just one of the awakened. You are now one of the keepers of the code. Carry it with grace. Resonate it with love. Walk it with unwavering vibration. The sound will never leave you because you were never meant to forget why it found you.